I came back from deployment expecting a homecoming. Instead, I found a smoothie-sipping stranger in flip-flops living in my house, and a signed lease from the HOA to prove it. They thought I'd roll over because I was in uniform. Turns out, that was their biggest mistake. I hadn't even made it up the porch steps when I knew something was off. The lawn was mowed, the hedges trimmed, perfect, like it was straight out of a realtor's catalog. Problem was, when I left 9 months ago, the grass was knee-high and the sprinkler system squealed like a dying bird. Someone had been playing house, and not just playing. They'd moved in. I saw the welcome mat and froze. It didn't say come back with a warrant like ours used to. No, this one said live, laugh, love. That alone should have been a crime. Then I saw the red Tesla in the driveway. Not mine, not my wife's. A confident, too clean kind of car. That was the moment my gut went cold. I wasn't panicking. I was scanning. I'd been through firefights with less warning. I moved slow to the front door, caught a flash of movement through the side window. A guy in his 30s, barefoot, tank top, banana strawberry protein shake in hand. Looked like someone who runs a travel blog no one reads. He opened the door before I even rang the bell. "Can I help you?" Like I was delivering mail. "Yeah," I said, real calm. "This is my house." He chuckled, cocked his head like a golden retriever. "Pretty sure it's not, man. We signed everything with the HOA. Then, like it was scripted, a black SUV pulled up. 2 guys hopped out wearing khakis and navy polos. HOA security. "Sir, you need to leave the premises," one of them said, like I was the intruder. I held up my house key, tried it, wouldn't turn. That thing had been with me through 2 continents and an IED blast, and now it meant nothing. I asked for Karen Prescott, and wouldn't you know it, she materialized like she'd been summoned. Beige visor, clipboard, mirrored sunglasses. And that smile, the kind of smile that's practiced in a mirror. "Oh," she said, "you're early. Your wife said Q4. Q4, like I was a quarterly report. I told her I'd been deployed. She nodded, thanked me for my service, then cited bylaw 14C. Homes unoccupied for more than 90 days without documented maintenance could be reassigned. She gestured to Smoothie Guy. "Just a temporary tenant." I asked if they got my deployment waiver. She paused, just for a second, then claimed a clerical error. Offered to let me contest it at the next board meeting. I stood there, every nerve in my body screaming. But I didn't swing. I didn't yell. I just looked through the open door, saw the framed photo of my wife from my deployment still on the wall. They hadn't even taken it down. I walked back to the curb, got in the rental and pulled out my phone. I didn't call a lawyer. Not yet. I texted a single word. "Ready?" 2 seconds later, I got the reply. "Always." Next morning, motel carpet underfoot. My kid curled up under 3 blankets like he was hiding from the world. My wife brought coffee and whispered, "We'll figure it out." But my son, he hadn't spoken since that HOA goon told him he couldn't even step on the lawn. So while they slept, I worked, laptop open, scouring bylaws, city ordinances, anything. And I found it. Bylaw 14C was added after I deployed, filed during a so-called emergency quorum meeting. No notice, no transparency. Karen signed it. And I wasn't a person. I was the Spruce Lane issue. Later that day, I caught one of the HOA rent-a-cops in a parking lot laughing into his phone. Guy freaked out like he was going to go full Rambo, he said. Then the punch to the gut. Karen said he checked out of the neighborhood long before he left. That wasn't just negligence. That was personal. My team came in quiet, like ghosts. Ramos was first, built like a fridge, voice like thunder. Then Yates, Bowen, Davis, and even Reed, guys I hadn't seen since Kandahar. We rented a shuttered vape shop across from the neighborhood. That became base. Yates brought sat maps. Davis brought tech that made TSA agents sweat. I laid out the plan. Proof, presence, narrative, no weapons, just truth. Karen thought she was untouchable. She even called my phone, cool as ever, told me she'd filed an injunction with a judge who just happened to be her old neighbor. Said, "Bring your army buddies, I'll be waiting, with paperwork." That night, we drove by the house. My son asked, "Is it still ours?" I wanted to say yes, but I couldn't lie. Instead, I just stared. Inside, someone was tossing out my son's old bookshelf, a shelf I'd built with my bare hands. I confronted the new tenant, Ron, right there in the yard. Told him that shelf held our family together once. He apologized. I told him to get inside, and he did. I stood in that yard, my yard, heart pounding not from rage, but restraint. Back at the motel, my wife looked at me, really looked. I told her they threw out the shelf. She didn't speak, just poured coffee. "So what's the plan?" I looked at her. "I'm calling the team." She didn't even blink, just said, "Then we'll need space to stage." Operation Homecoming kicked off at 0600. We arrived in civilian clothes, hidden cameras, GoPros clipped under jackets. Karen wasn't home, but the sheriff was. Clipboard in hand, deputy twitchy on the draw. "Why are 6 military-age men outside a house at dawn?" Blaine asked. I raised my hands. "We're reclaiming our home, legally." Karen showed up, smug as ever, called us trespassers. I ignored her, handed Blaine a flash drive, proof of everything. She laughed, until I played the video of her in the HOA meeting saying, "If he comes back, we'll make sure it's not his home anymore." Blaine's jaw twitched. Karen started dialing, her last card, but my phone buzzed first. Unknown number. A woman's voice. "You're about to be served. Federal injunction. IRS fraud. Falsified HOA income." I froze. Then I saw her. Karen, still smiling, still thinking she was 10 steps ahead. But we had everything. And just when I thought it was over, it got worse. A couple showed up the next day. Amanda and Leo. Said they were renters. Said Karen told them the house was abandoned by the owner. Me. They didn't know. They brought documents, emails signed Karen, overpriced leases, fake court notices. But then they said something that made my stomach drop. "There are others," Amanda whispered. "At least 6 homes, all military." We dug deeper. Every one of those leases signed off by one man, Edgar Monroe, HOA treasurer, real estate crook. He'd built an entire operation, targeting deployed soldiers, flipping their homes for profit. This wasn't HOA drama anymore. This was organized fraud. We compiled the kill packet, dozens of files, proof, testimonies, sent it to state officials, the Housing Commission, even a JAG contact. Then we sent a physical copy to Karen's house. Certified, signature required. The retaliation came fast. Ramos got served with a restraining order, completely fabricated. Karen was bleeding us, trying to isolate me. But then, we got the tip. Anonymous voice, same as before. Check page 3 of the city planning agenda. We did, and there it was. Karen's LLC pushing a rezoning plan for distressed homes, including mine. And backing it? Monroe's firm. But Karen wasn't done. She filed one last complaint from jail, claiming I ran unauthorized tactical training on my property. If the city accepted it, I could lose the house again, maybe even face disciplinary review from the Army. I fought back with everything: footage, noise logs, signed neighbor waivers, even an old HOA newsletter praising my community dog program. Inspector came, walked the yard, watched my service dog Max perform commands. "You run this like a training facility," he said. I nodded. We train for coming home and not breaking. 3 hours later, complaint dismissed. But then came the final envelope. No postmark, no return address, just a key. Rusty, old, labeled Unit 13. It didn't exist. Not on any map. But buried in the original blueprint from 14 years ago, it did. A storm shelter, sealed, hidden. Ramos and I cracked it open. Inside, crates, ledgers, forged HOA votes, fake violations, and dozens of email printouts. Karen bragging. One said, "I don't care if he's active duty. He left. That makes him fair game." I drove it straight to the state attorney's office. 2 days later, Karen was rearrested, charged with conspiracy, wire fraud, and abuse of power. Court lasted a week. She tried to represent herself. Didn't end well. 8 years. Restitution pending. The HOA was dissolved. Funds returned to homeowners. We got our house back. But one night, I found another letter. Handwritten. One sentence. No punctuation. No return address. Just a key taped to the back and the words, "You didn't win, you just got lucky." So who was really in control?